Hey guys, it's Mimi, and today in this video I want to talk about my Lord and Savior Hekate. And first off, I'm going to explain the three stages. I'm going to explain before I met her and what was happening like during the time and what has happened after. So before her, what was my relation to her? None. I grew up in a very like traditional family. They believed in Christianity, and I was actually never a true Christian. I was almost like a small atheist, very young. I would debate with my religion teachers. I would even try to debate with my family, but they would always like shut me down and be like, you're not supposed to question these type of things, you're just supposed to believe because God is real. And that was just the typical upbringing that I had. So when I was like more into teenage age, I became more interested in witchcraft, but I didn't have any resources, so I just couldn't get access to weekend books or anything like that. So I just kind of forgot about it. And again, I tried to be a witch when I was like 17, but again, I was already pregnant and I didn't have resources. I was kind of like already, not ready to be focused on that. So I just kind of forgot about it again. So fast forward a couple relationships after, I got in this particularly bad relationship that was very much an entrapment for my soul. And it wasn't my first relationship that was bad, so I already knew that when you try to please someone too much, you end up losing yourself and your own identity just to please them and just to do whatever they want. So I got it in my head that I was going to be myself no matter what. I was gonna do what I want, I was gonna like what I like, and I was gonna be independent. My identity was gonna be very separate from him. So I started doing self-discovery, or just self-reflecting on what I've always wanted. As a kid, I always wanted to be a magical person of some type, and actually it does conflict with how I started tarot readings, because I'm not gonna get into that story now, that's another story. But the thing is that I started being like, you know what, I always wanted to be a witch, so I'm just gonna focus on this and I'm gonna make something out of this because that is what I want. So I kept studying and studying. I studied astrology, I studied numerology, palmistry, I studied a little bit of psychology, I even studied graphology, tarot, the Kabbalah a little bit, and I just started seeing that there's just a lot of tools and a lot of things. So I always want to get back to like the root. The root is trying to contact. And I found a book that I can't mention just because in the book says I can't mention it, and I don't want to ruin the magic. So I just wanted to do the purest form of witchcraft that I could find. So I started researching that. And so this is the during part. So what happened, during the day that I actually met her. So just to clarify, I never had any like prior knowledge of her. And after the dream, I still didn't know it was her. Okay, so the dream. So that day I finished the whole book because I love to read. So I just finished it the whole, in one sitting. And I was a little afraid because it's very unusual from, it's very different from what I usually read. So I was a little scared, but I didn't tell my partner about the book, and I just fell asleep, and he was playing Call of Duty on his phone. and we were actually staying at our mom's house, at my mom's house. And so what happened? So I fell asleep, and I believe not too late after I fell asleep, I kind of woke up and I couldn't move and I couldn't like talk, and I am very much into mindful meditation. So I just started trying to chill myself the frick down because I never had that experience happen to me. I could see my, let's call him husband. I could see my husband like, still playing on his phone and me being like, I feel like I'm dying and I can't do anything about it. So I just kind of relaxed into it and I breathe and I say, you're not dying. You already know what this is. You've read about it before. You're not gonna die. It's gonna be fine. You're okay. So I did have one. I will describe this as cycles because there were like 3 visions in that same night. So that was the first cycle. I woke up and I couldn't move and I had a vision that I told my husband, but neither of us remember what it was. So I fell asleep again. I mean, I tell him obviously afterwards because at the moment I was not able to talk. So I fell asleep again and I woke up and I had the same experience, same crap. I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. So I drifted off. I was really scared this time because at this point I was thinking like, is this gonna end? Like, am I just like stuck in this? So I wake up the second time and I see a vision. So I've already opened up about the fact that my relationship have been pretty toxic. So I had a vision of my mom's balcony and my mom's living room, and I could see, I could see like between the wall, like I could see both spaces from where I was. So he was like very like dressed like a deadbeat person, like dressed really badly in a bad outfit, like just really raggedy. And I saw him walk through the window, and when he came out the other side, he was very clean looking. He was so, polished and very different outfit and everything. So, I wasn't thinking anything. I was just observing what was happening. So I fell asleep again and I woke up. And this next time, this was the best dream I've ever had in my life. So I was dressed in all black and I was in a sort of like a hellish place. It was like a desert. It was kind of like orangey yellow, but it had like a lot of shadows and I couldn't see like any trees or anything. It was very dark. And so I was in this black dress and it looked kind of like ashy at the end. It looked like it had like layers, and at the end of each layer it was like burning up and it was like ashing off. It was very interesting. And I also had a torch in my hand, on my right hand, right? And it was pretty big, and they were also how do you call this, like a herd of dogs, and these were black dogs and their chests were on fire, like kind of like the anima drawing, and also I would compare them at the time to the dog zombies that are in the Call of Duty games, because they're like, but these dogs were very dark and big and just fiery, and I could lead them with my torch. I was leading them with my torch, so I can't like just but you can visualize me like just going my whole hand up, and they would run to the side, and I would just signal them to the other way, and they would run any direction that I would tell them. So this was the most badass dream. I felt very powerful. I felt very badass. So at this time, please remember that I did not have any knowledge of Hekate. So I just go on about my daily life. I have met actually near around that time, I met a therapist and we did some questionable therapy and we got some questionable results, right? And I broke up with my partner. And then I went back to him again, and I got this random tarot reading exchange, and I just commented to the person that was like 6 months after the dream, or 4 to 6 months after the dream. So I told him, like randomly, like, hey, just if to see if you have any knowledge on this. I had this dream, and I'm very curious to see if you know anything about it. So he kind of went quiet for a little bit, and he said, I know who can teach you, and he said she's Hekate. And I was like, great, thanks for giving me something. And he said that he was going to point out in the direction, he was going to point me to someone who was consecrated to her, and she would like kind of like lead the way for me, right? And so yeah, I texted her, I googled Hecate, and the image that you can see on Wikipedia is the same image that is in my mind, but it's in color. In my mind it's in color, and there's not one dog, there's many dogs, and they're somewhat far away from me, and they're on fire, like on little fire, and I control them. So that was very, when I saw that, I was like, honestly, I've had so many shifts or, epiphanies or just random thoughts, because how is this possible that I'm seeing in my dream something that I've never seen before and I've never known about before, and it's very clear, and obviously I'm not the first person who has seen her, which is more indicative to me of her divinity. She has access to many different ages. She has been there for, only she knows how long she's been there. So it's very interesting to me. And what is also interesting to me, the images all match up in some way. All the symbols for her, they all have a torso. If different people have seen her in different ways, but she's very similar in all the visions, right? That's how we can come to this unique image, because we share it. We've all seen it, and it's really amazing. And so, okay, so one conclusion that has came to my mind is that the possibility of different dimensions, just because a lot of people claim to have seen different entities, and they are all not like in the Greek mythology kind of thing. So maybe there's different dimensions, and that's how different entities are able to exist at the same time. Could that be? I don't know. I really want your guys' opinion on it, because I'm not, like I always say, I'm not a teacher. I'm here learning, and I'm really just gonna share what I've done, how far I've gotten, and what I've learned. So other things that are, kind of curious to me. So why I think she's always been there, and she just appeared to me when she knew I was ready for her. So black dogs, black things have always been, I've always had a call to blood. I've always had a call to, vibration. I've always had a call to kind of like the dark side of things as well, because the dark side is very real and very much there, but people will, try to negate it, and they will try to hide it. But I actually love it, because the dark side is the realest side, and that's what I believe, right? So she has been there. So I was, let's say at one point I was a woman of the night, and I always felt protected. And I'm talking about me being 12, 13, 14, by myself, completely alone, and being completely comforted, regardless of what was happening around me. I always had this inner knowing that I was protected in some way, somehow I was protected. And, even soon before I even started getting into tarot, I was drawing, and I kind of like tuned into the universe, and I draw very similar. I drew it in my mind. It was like a sun inside of a labyrinth. So that was my interpretation of it. Now, after getting to know her, I can see, how similar it was. So yeah, another thing, just my affinity for black cats, black animals, black things have always been there for me. And another thing that I think she has come to me for is because or she set me on this path. I've always been neglected. Even, as a child growing up, I was always like undermined and neglected. And, even still now, my family still try to tear me down. And, she wanted me to come from this really dark place and just become empowered. And this plays into the red color. So a little bit before getting into Hekate, I started getting into black and red because it was the most empowering thing. So, I come to this after everything is said and done, and I believe she's always been there for me. I believe she's always been taking care of me. And I believe she wants me to speak about certain things, about certain forgotten, maybe issues, or maybe she just wants me to talk about the dark side. As I said, I'm still learning. So, it's fine by me to not know. This has all come to me very slowly, actually. So, yeah, and I just want to express my love for her because she has provided me with visions that, I have been able to predict. Sadly, I've been able to predict death. I've been able to predict certain violence. I've been able to predict, certain future for like I can tell when now I can really tell in hindsight. You can tell when she's guiding me and when she's just letting me use my intuition. So it doesn't always work the same way. Then that's why I also say, it kind of comes slowly. And yeah, I've also had like names revealed to me. That happened one time, but it still did happen. So yeah, guys, this is the story of how Hekate came to me. And this is also a little bit, a get to know me. So I hope you enjoy this. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.